Hey guys, welcome back to my Mommy Monday video. So today's video is going to be a little different. I'm not really going to speak so much about a mommy topic, but I have been getting many messages about how did I basically, I'm not going to necessarily say find the courage to leave my past relationship, because it wasn't something that I felt like I was trapped in. But basically how I managed to just leave that life, that pretty much all I've ever known, and started a whole new life. You know, we just typically, when in a relationship, a lot of us just get so comfortable that the idea of moving on or starting a new life with or without someone new, it's very frightening. And just the thought of it alone makes you just not want to do it, because you really can't picture yourself kind of getting comfortable with someone new, because you're so used to the person that you've been with for, you know, X amount of years. So it definitely was not something that was easy for me. But, you know, as a woman, as a mother, you just kind of know when the right time is the right time. You know, you might get into like a lot of arguments or disagreements, and sometimes at that moment, because of the heat of the moment, you feel like, oh, I don't want to be with this person anymore, I can't stand them. And then when the fight is over, you like are lovey-dovey all over again. But when you kind of just have like that permanent feeling where not so much like, oh, I can't stand this person, but you just feel unhappy no matter whether you're having a good time or a bad time, that unhappiness just is still like in your head, then you kind of just know. People know, but we just deny it. That's the difference. So I got with my daughter's father when I was 15 years old. So I was a baby. That was my first real relationship, and he was all that I knew. I literally grew up with him. We were high school sweethearts, and we ended up getting married and having a child together. But you know, the issue is that we just started so young that as we grew older, I felt like we had less and less in common. When we were in high school, you know, in high school you really don't have any concerns, and as much as I say now to, you know, a girl that's like 15, 16, you know, a teenager in love, there's things that you want to look out for, and vice versa for males as well. I'm not gonna just like blame it all on him, because there's things that he should have basically been looking out for as well. But I just think that when you're so young, you don't think about your future. You don't think about could you grow with this person, and is this person going to benefit you, or is this person just going to bring you down? And that doesn't necessarily mean like in an abusive way, but if the person is just not like ambitious and you are, then the older you guys get and the more goals you set for yourself and that person doesn't, you're gonna find yourself like drifting apart more and more. And I think that's just kind of like what happened, where him and we just like grew older and we just drifted apart as like the years went on. You know, we had our good times. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it was horrible, because if it was really that horrible, I wouldn't have been with him for that long. But again, we were just mainly, honestly, after a certain point, I felt like we were just together just for the comfort of it. But the love just like started to fade as time went on, you know, but we do share a child, and that's something that, you know, I could say that was like the best thing he ever gave to me was my daughter. And I'm sure every mom out there could agree that the best thing our husbands, boyfriends, ex-husbands, ex-boyfriends ever gave to us was our children. And honestly, me having a daughter helped me open my eyes in many different ways prior to having her. You know, before having her, I just really didn't care, because I didn't have another life to care for or to think about other than mine. So those were my selfish years. And now that I have her, everything revolves around her, and I just basically try to do things that I know are going to benefit her in life. And I know it sounds crazy to some people thinking, but a divorce is not going to benefit her. But, I don't look at it that way. I look at it in a way that she one day is going to grow up, and she's going to fall in love, and she is going to live her own life. And I don't want to be the type of parent that, I sacrificed 18 plus years to be with her dad just so she could grow up with like mommy and daddy together in one household. But in all honesty, I was like miserable all those years. I didn't want her to grow up feeling like, oh my God, my mom was like never happy. She was like such a bitter Betty, and everything about my dad just like drove her crazy. Because why would I want her to grow up like that just so her and her dad could be under the same roof but not in love? Like, I feel like that's worse. And plus, she's young. She's only 2, so she's gonna grow up only knowing her dad and I basically not being together. We separated when she was still 1 year old, so she doesn't even know what it's like to really have him and I together in one household, raising her. When she grows up, all she's gonna know is kind of like living with mommy and spending time with daddy. So, I know it's not as easy for the children that are older. And that's something that I'll talk about in another video, about how to cope with that with children who are old enough to know what's going on. But yeah, so it wasn't easy leaving something that was part of my life for so long, but I had to really think about myself, because I spent so many years thinking about someone else and what other people were gonna say or think of me, but I never really considered my own feelings. And and I'm gonna be 25 in June. So I just felt like I'm way too young to be like dealing with certain issues and certain problems. And and I'm not like a party girl. That's not what I'm about. So it's not like, I wanted to like relive my youth that I didn't get to do because I got married so young. It was not even about that, to be honest with you. It was more about just like finding myself. And I just felt like last year in 2015, I just grew so much mentally and like spiritually as a person and as a woman, that there's things that people in my life were noticing, but I was just so blinded to it until like kind of like it just like all smacked me in the face, and I came to a realization about everything in my life. And I just felt like I deserved to be happy, whether that was me being alone or being with someone. Either way, I just deserved to have happiness, and so did he. Like I said, I'm not being selfish. And yes, it was very, very rough in the beginning. It wasn't a happy separation and happy divorce. But as time went on, it just got easier and easier to deal with. And and then eventually I found new love. In the beginning, that was really tough on me, only because like I said, I was just so comfortable with someone that to find myself trying to get comfortable with another person just felt so weird. And and I just didn't. It was hard on me. And being a mother at the same time, it's like I don't know if a man will appreciate me and my body, because that wasn't his child that I had. It's different when it's the father to your child. So they know you sacrificed your body and your life for their kid. But when it's not their kid, you don't know if that man is going to have that same mentality. You would hope to find something like that, but you honestly you don't know. And I was super verbal about that in the beginning of my new relationship, and he just made me feel so comfortable about everything, whether it was physically, mentally, emotionally. He was like a friend to me at the same time. It's just really hard for me to find someone to like confide in about my business, because I don't easily trust people, because I've been in situations that my trust for people has been broken or taken advantage of, and I just don't find it humane for people to do that. So that's why I'm just like, I have such a guard now of who I tell certain things to, because, you know, you just don't know who's gonna guide you the right way or the wrong way. And when you're so vulnerable, it's really hard to tell which is which. But you know, it's just as a mother and as a mother and a female, I just had to think about myself, and I had to be selfish, and I had to really think of what would help myself and what would help my daughter. And you know, doing the whole single mom thing is like, it is hard. I am not gonna lie, it's super exhausting, and it's emotionally draining, and you know, and sometimes I feel like, oh my God, I want to cry. Sometimes I feel like my daughter, you know, I don't want her growing up like thinking that I took away the most important thing from her, because I don't ever want her to think that. And I just want her to grow up to be like a strong woman, a strong female, and to know that she deserves to be happy. And I don't want her to ever feel like she's trapped in a relationship, because you know, that's like the worst feeling anyone could ever have. And I want her just growing up knowing that she is her own person, and she doesn't need someone in her life that's not benefiting her to help to make her feel like that person is the only reason why she's living or she's alive. Because you know, it goes beyond that, and we're all our own person. And as hard as it may seem, like you just can't move on with life or live life without a certain person, it's honestly, it's not that difficult doing it on your own. The single mom thing, like I said, that's tough. If you have children, it's tough, but it's not impossible. You know, and if anything, it's super rewarding knowing how much you're capable of doing on your own, and you don't realize what you're capable of doing until you know, you're in that specific situation. But you know, I feel very empowered, because never in a million years did I think I would be able to do what I'm doing, you know, without her father being, you know, physically there with me 24/7. And you know, I pat myself on the back, because it's not an easy thing. And I like, kudos to all the moms out there doing it on their own and with one or maybe more children, because you know, it is not an easy thing, but like I said, it's not impossible. And you got to really think about yourself. That's the ultimate motivation right there. It's not so much about how did I find the courage to do this or that. It was just the fact of thinking about myself and what I deserved. You know, it was a lot of years of, you know, dealing with things, and it was time for me to think about my happiness, and that's exactly what I did. And that's why I am where I'm at right now, and I'm probably the happiest that I've ever been in years. But again, it was something I had to do within myself. It wasn't because I found new love. Because if you're still if you have this weight on your shoulders, whether you are in a new relationship or not, you're still gonna have that negativity sitting on you. So you kind of just have to like build yourself as a person first, and then when you find love, you find love. But don't think that you leave one relationship to find love and then that's just gonna change your world completely, because again, you're just gonna bring in the baggage from the past. So you just want to make sure that you are at a place where you feel completely whole with yourself. And when you are in that, you know, place, then you know that now you are able to share yourself with someone else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little chit chat. Again, if you guys have anything else that you'd like me to talk about, it could be mommy related, it could be relationship related, it could just be plain old advice on something, you let me know and I will make a video on it. And this has been like a super emotional video, so please don't mind my makeup. It looks a little on the crazy side. Like I have eyeliner like all over the place from like crying and stuff. So just, I know some of you guys are gonna be like, what is up with her eyeliner? So yeah, just explaining that to you guys so that you're like aware of why my makeup looks a little crazy. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I love you all. Bye.